Hello. Apologies for not being able to make the meeting this morning, but what I wanted to do is to bring you up to date with the new thinking around the development of MySID and the opportunities that you have to provide us with feedback as we develop the new system ready for the new financial year. So what I'm going to do is just going to go through some slides and then provide you with some questions so that you can provide us with some feedback if you feel that there are things that we need to do that haven't been included in our thinking. So in terms of, first of all, some key dates for you in terms of the release of the new system. So where we are at the moment is we're in a design phase, and then the next stage of development is going to start on the 4th of April and run until the 22nd of April. And I'll tell you what's going to be done within that time period on the next slide. After the 22nd of April, you're going to have the opportunity to provide some feedback on the enhancements that have been added to this point. The point being then that we've got a couple of days then to incorporate some feedback on those and tweak any changes that have been made. There's then going to be a subsequent development window that starts on the 25th of April, which we've called here Development Iteration 2. Which will do a second series of changes, which again I'll take you through shortly in one of the future slides. And then finally on the 13th of May we'll take delivery of the final version of the system. And again there'll be an opportunity to provide feedback with a view to going live on the 20th of May. If, however, we're in a situation where we're happy with the delivery and the feedback's been positive from the final development stage, we can go live as early as the 14th of May with the new system. Now in terms of those timescales, that has some implications in terms of development planning and completing activity plans. However, all of the professional learning offer this year, which is being captured in a book that's going to be sent to you over the next 2 weeks, can all be booked through CPD Online, and as was the case last year in MySID, those courses will appear in your school activity plan. So there's going to be no delay in you booking courses and programs. It'll be just the mechanics of getting that into the plan, which will be delayed by about a month because of this new the new development that we're doing. Okay, let's move on and look at the list of enhancements, the things that we're going to be doing. So the first phase in terms of the changes, we're going to put in some changes into the financial monitoring system, some what we call here UI changes, that's user interface changes, so what you see when you come to the system to actually use it. There's some new headings in the financial columns, and we're going to allow the ability to scroll with the headings, because you're probably aware that at the moment when you try and scroll on the financial monitoring, the headings don't remain static, so you're having to scroll up and down when you're trying to cross-reference against the headings on the sheet. So they're going to remain static. We're also going to provide the word output here for the system, and what we're looking for there is the ability to output any of the reports from the systems in Word document format. That was one of the biggest critiques last year, and the biggest frustrations for schools was not having the ability to output your school development plan into Word and then change the format to suit your particular needs. So that is going to be available with version 2, and that's the first phase of development. So the first phase of development is the financial monitoring and the Word output, and the second phase of development is the school development plan versioning. So this is when we move from one financial year or one planning year into a second year. And I'll show you how that's going to work again on a future slide. So that's the sort of the big items that are going to change in the system. So in terms of the school development plan then, if I just very briefly explain how the versioning is going to work. Basically what will happen is you'll have a school development plan which runs across the current financial year, and then you'll need to create a new one for the next financial year. So what the changes that we're proposing to bring in will enable you to version for next year a draft plan while you're completing your old plan. which will mean that you can start developing your school development plan targets and so on across for the 3 years. Once the draft's been created, what you'll then be able to do, as I said, is to edit those sections, and that won't have any effect on the previous year's plan. When you are then ready as the head teacher, and only you will be able to do this, you can then convert from the draft plan into your active year. So what you'll be able to do, and again I'll show you this on screen shortly, is you'll be able to say, right, I finished my old plan now, I can archive that. You'll still be able to access it, but not edit it or change it at that point, and then you'll move into your new plan. But obviously you will still be able to download the attachments, and you'll be able to extract the information from the previous plans should you wish to. So what I'm going to do now is very quickly take you through how in reality that versioning would work. So here's just a mock-up of MySID now. So let's imagine I'm going to this system when the new version is rolled out. So I click on St. Joseph's there, okay, and what I've now got, you'll notice here on the screen, is the year, so the current year, 2015-16, and what I want to do is I want to add a draft year, okay, so I'm going to add the following year in now to start planning for next year. If I do that, I've now got draft for 2016-17. If I click on the draft for 16-17, you should notice there'll be some changes that happen on the left-hand side of the page here. So if I click on draft, what you'll notice is this is now my draft. The only thing that's currently available now is my school development plan. The other sections are greyed out because this is still the draft version. What you're then requested to do is to make this your current year. Now, while you're still working on your old plan, you can go back and make edits and changes to your old plan. You can still go in and start looking at your school development plan for next year. When you then commit to make this your current year, you'll then be given a reminder. Are you sure you want to make this your current year? You can then confirm or cancel. Obviously, if you confirm at this stage, then the previous year's school development plan is archived, and your new development plan is now becomes active in all sections, which means you can start developing your school activity plan, your financial monitoring, etc. So once I confirm that, you can see that I'm working on my current plan, and all the sections are now available, and I can start my new year afresh with the system. Obviously, that's a mock-up, that isn't actually live in the system yet, so that's the thinking of how that might work. Okay, so just after that brief summary, here are some key questions for you in terms of going forward. So these questions are, the first question is, does the plan for the new version capture your requirements? So last year, I think the biggest challenge we faced was in terms of the financial monitoring, in terms of the headings not matching the local authorities, and also the ability to export and import into Word. So export into Word and then upload versions of development plans as Word documents. That functionality will exist in the new system. But was there any other major frustrations? If there are and we haven't captured them, please could you let us know. Secondly, are there any issues with the existing planned deployment? Okay, are there any things that you feel won't work in terms of what I've just shown you there in terms of the flow? Okay, if you could capture those and feed them back to me. And third then is, are there any enhancements which we haven't captured and we need to be included in this release? This isn't obviously the last opportunity to feedback, but some initial feedback would be useful. The next opportunity to provide feedback will be in the period between the 22nd and 25th of April, when we'll be able to show you the new changes to the financial monitoring user interface and the Word document download facility as well. And again, we'll provide you the opportunity to feedback on those. So if you could get back to me with any responses to any of those questions, I'm meeting with the development team over the Easter holidays, and I'll certainly feedback anything you have to mention back into them. So I hope that was clear. If it isn't, please drop me an email or give me a ring, and we can talk through any of your issues with regards to MySID. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I hope you all have a lovely holiday.